Yo, what is up, people? And welcome back to the next episode of The Max Factor. And I'm super jacked out of my skull today because today we get to meet one of those rare, humble people that says, look, I'm just an ordinary guy. I'm a guy that's doing just like everybody else. Nothing's different than me. Nothing's extraordinary. Nothing out of ordinary here. Nothing to see here, people. That type of guy, right? But truly, this is a person who's doing something different than 99% of the people in the great country of the United States of America. And that's 100% true. So without further ado, I've got my fantastic, great friend and a really out of this world, extraordinary franchisee here, the owner of the Max Challenge of Hazlitt and of Shrewsbury, the one and only Mr. Marc Naparstek.
Hey, Bryan.
What's up, Marc?
Just chilling.
So today was some good jumping off point is today was board breaking day for us. And hopefully there's a lot of people watching this who just don't get it. They don't know what board breaking day is. They have no clue what we're talking about. They think board breaking is something that they do in like the karate classes with the little kids. Who's that in Seinfeld? Kramer.
Oh, yeah.
Kramer took the kids' karate class. He busted the board, whatever. But obviously it's not. So if you were explaining it to someone who's never been through the Max Challenge, what would you tell them that it was?
Board breaking, I think, from the perspective of how we do it, is it's kind of a symbol of breaking through something that is going to help you accomplish what you're trying to do, say, over the next 5 weeks in our 10-week challenge. It could even go beyond that in terms of it's something that you're trying to grasp and get over to, it could be something that you're trying to accomplish in your personal life, at work, with your fitness goals. It's that one thing that we're going to focus on that you can do something about right now. Do it today. Don't put it off. Make it something measurable. Make it something you can put your arms around and get it done. That's kind of the way we approach it. So
the members go around. Just give like we'll try to paint like the best picture that the two of us could together. I think the two of us together make maybe one complete whole person that could get a point across in a really fantastic way, right? Like that makes sense. I think we're gonna start calling you in out in these things. And again, I think that's what we'll do. But so halfway through the 10-week challenge in week 5, the members get to freaking bust through this board, and before they bust through the board, they write some obstacle that's holding them back from achieving the highest levels of success. And I went to a center this morning and participated and was like floored from some of the stories, some of the obstacles that people were writing on there. Like people like grown adult men and women writing like low self-esteem, never exercised regularly before my life, confidence, financial freedom, like all sorts of crazy stuff. Have you seen anything?
Absolutely. I mean, all kinds of things like that. I mean, like I said, things that deal with what they're doing in their personal life, things that do with their health and fitness, not just their physical fitness, their mental well-being. There's just so many things that challenge us in our everyday lives, and it's a time where, how you say everybody's got a story. They get a little piece of that story on a board and they try to deal with it, and we help them try to get through that so that they can put it in their past, address it, and move forward in a positive way. It's kind of like one of the other things that we always focus on is, your mind is a powerful thing, and board breaking is also symbolic of your state of mind, right? If you come up and you try to break a board, and your state of mind is not in a place where you feel confident that you're going to get it done, what happens? You're probably not going to break that board. If you change your state of mind, if you figure out a way to do that in breaking that board, like getting yourself psyched up and getting yourself ready to break that board, you've changed your state of mind. You break the board. And really, the things that you need to jump over as your obstacles, you need to do the same thing, right? So that's also symbolic of changing that state of mind to do something positive and putting yourself in a place where I can do this. I'm going to change the way I feel right now. I'm going to deprogram myself and reprogram it in a positive way. And I think that's a big part of what we're doing.
Awesome.
Yeah, so
it is definitely it's a big part. And what's incredible to see is the amazing benefit that so many people get out of that
absolutely
exercise and the whole program as a whole.
Yeah, and I think probably what you would say is after we kind of talk about that a little bit, and you can tell when people are listening and when they're not, right? And when you're standing in that circle and you're talking to folks and you're looking them in the eye and you're talking about making a change today, doing something about what we just put on that board, and not just that thing, but also symbolically about reprogramming the brain and reprogram it in such a way that you learn how to be positive. You learn how to, if you have those insecurities, right, to not let them become the thing that controls you. You learn how to control it, right? It's like, don't let the mind play you. You need to play it, right? Like you would an instrument. So it's part of that process in doing that. And I think it's huge. I mean, it's part of what we do for 10 weeks, but I think board breaking is very symbolic of taking that absolute step to bring it forward and make it happen.
That's awesome. A lot of people don't get that piece of the whole equation too. Like the Max Challenge is fitness for the mind, for the body, for the spirit, and this reprogramming piece. That's why it's 10 weeks. It's unlike any other fitness challenge, literally on the face of the earth. Because what's happening is people are developing these better habits over the course of 10 weeks and being supported in a very robust, caring, nurturing environment that's effective. That's why people are making these incredible changes.
And for me, Bryan, that's the most rewarding part of what I do. When I see people, I mean, obviously physical changes are great, getting healthier is great, but when I see people that truly embrace what we're doing and make real changes in the way they perceive themselves and their confidence, what they go out and do with that confidence in the real world, it's awesome. It's totally awesome. And that's why, honestly, I got involved with this. When I was in my MAC challenges and I witnessed what was going on around me, it wasn't, the physical changes were awesome, but what really hooked me to do all this was that I saw people just gain confidence. Maybe they were thinking about going back to school. Maybe they were thinking about, they'd gone to school and they didn't complete all their classes. They want to sit for a law degree or something. They were doing things like that. I've had members over the course of the 5 years I've been involved with this that have just done amazing things. They've done things that they never thought that they would ever complete, ever get done. And they've gone out and done them because they've gotten that little boost that made them say, you know what, why not me? I can do this, I will do this. And it's truly awesome.
And I know that you're not a person to talk about this a lot, but I'm constantly bringing it up because I find you to be a very inspirational person, not just through the way that you talk to your classes and inspire them, but through the example that you're setting. So what I mean by that, so because you're not going to say it, I'm going to say it on here, is that, here's a Markism. I'll call it a Markism. Mark once said to me, X years old at the time, whatever it was, 55, I guess, right? You're 50.
When we started, 55, 56, yeah.
55, 56. He's like, I'm 55 years old and I finally figured out what I want to do when I grow up.
When I first did this at 55, I truly finally figured out it happened to me. The same thing that I'm talking about happened to me. When I got involved with this program, it made me finally figure out what it was I wanted to do with my life. I've done a lot of different things. I owned other businesses. Not the same thing for me. This just seemed to click because, like I said, it's like I always wanted to be in this position where I just wasn't working, but I was doing something positive, giving back in a sense, right? I know it's a cliche, but it's truly rewarding.
And it's true what you're doing.
Absolutely.
I mean, you're giving back to your community because it's a service that people appreciate. Like for the $99 a month that you charge for your legacy program, you're truly giving $300 or $400 worth of service.
Without a doubt. I mean, it's truly a value. I mean, yeah, everything we combine between fitness, the nutrition, and then the coaching part of what we do is, it's worth it.
But I mean, from this like fulfillment standpoint, I'm sure you're getting thank yous every day.
Oh yeah.
And literally.
The most rewarding thing is when you are talking to people, just after classes, talking with members, and sometimes you're not talking about, great things. I mean, they've had issues in their lives, but the Max is helping them stay focused on how they're going to overcome those issues, and that is truly rewarding to me. I just turned 60, and this week, and the things that my classes and my members did for me was truly right here.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
And the fact that you turned 60 and you're so physically fit.
Hanging in there.
You're hanging in there. But I mean, you're more physical. When I started this off, I said that you were doing something that 99% of Americans aren't doing, and it's true. Like, if you lined up 100 people at the mall. I would even dare to say 1,000 people at the mall. I would dare to say that there's no way that 10% of those people are in optimal health. There's no way that they're at
I agree.
a healthy weight. There's no way that their blood results are coming back. It's just people are a mess. They're going to that food court, they're eating crap, and they're not exercising. They're leading a sedentary lifestyle as a whole. And it's probably in the high 90 percentile of people. And average has become the new outstanding. You know, and here at the Max Challenge, we're literally freaking surrounded by people like you who are taking their health, taking their life into their own, and at 60 years old, you're still out there freaking crushing it every single day.
I work out every day. Every day I do. I'm a true believer in you gotta walk the talk. And I get out there on the mats. I work out in my class times. I work out with some different class times. But again, it's why are we doing this, right? What's your why? And at a point in my life when I started doing this, I realized I was in really bad shape, right? And so, I always say when I talk to members a lot of times too, or prospective members, it amazes me, like you're saying, how many less than 10% of people are doing something to keep themselves healthy. Is there really anything more important than your health and your well-being? Think about that. A better you is better for everybody around you, for your family, for your friends, for your job, for your work. So to me, like I said, for the last 5 years, it's all clicked.
Yeah.
I go to work every day. I don't feel like I'm at work. I feel like I'm truly doing something I love. But my point is that everybody's got to kind of think about it for a minute and say, whether it's the Max or they do it in some other way, what's your why? There's a lot of whys out there why you want to stay healthy. I know one of your pet peeves is soda, right? We talked about and I just saw an article. I just thought about that. But there's an article that was just written up, I don't remember where it was, might have been the New York Times, that compared smoking to drinking soda. And if you look at the...
Oh, I saw.
Yeah, it's ridiculous. And again, it goes back to some simple things. You got to find that why. It could be your family, right? Your own well-being, your own health. But it's amazing to me how difficult it is for people to take that step and stick with it to keep themselves in a place where they're going to be better off and the people around them are going to be better off. It's so important, to do it. And here at the Max, we help you get there. We really do.
I think a lot of people get involved either in the Max or any other program. Even at New Year's resolution, they buy whatever Nordic Runner super mirror internet powered device that goes in their house for $3,000 that they put on payments with interest over the course of 20 years or whatever it is. People buy all these crazy things and make these whacked out decisions and they don't stick to it. It makes no logical sense, but when you think about it, it's, I think, and I'm curious what you think about this, like their motivation most of the time, especially around New Year's, is, okay, I'm going to get into the best shape of my life. I'm going to lose a couple pounds. I'm going to lose 5 pounds, 10 pounds, 15 pounds, even 20 pounds. And losing the weight just isn't enough. It's enough to make the initial decision, but isn't enough to keep you going a week, 2 weeks, 3 weeks, 4 weeks, and in the case of a lot of the people that we know, a lifetime. People who've gotten themselves in shape and then stuck with it for a year, 2 years, 3 years, 4 years. It's become a lifestyle now. And this is part of who they are. And they'll never go back to the old way. And the difference is finding not just the why, like I want to look better in a bathing suit in the summer, but a big why. Being part of something bigger than yourself that's really going to make a difference, not just for yourself and your health, but for the world, for your family, for your community, and ultimately, literally, for the country, for the world.
Right. Talk about healthcare costs, right? I don't want to go there, but it's a big deal. People, if they were staying healthier, a lot of those issues would start to really help themselves. I definitely agree that the why is so important. But and I also think though that people who do make those kind of short-term, split-second decisions are motivated by something at that moment. I think what they lose is something that's going to continue to drive that motivation. And there's different ways to get that, I guess. But I think again, what we do really well is we have community. We're kind of a social club in a sense, and the camaraderie that people build in doing our program is part of that why. It's part of that drive because they feel like it's not just on them that they need to come here and do something positive. They're also representing and inspiring other people to do that. And I think that's a big driver in that longevity and making them stick with it and making them keep doing it, because they realize at some point the benefit they're getting, and then they realize the people around them are feeding off of that. And it's almost like you have a responsibility to continue it. I feel like that at times, right? And that's why I say I work out every day. I follow nutrition. I do the things that, because I have people that are kind of looking at me and making sure that I'm doing what I'm supposed to be doing. And I think our members get to that point at some point too, a lot of them, where they carry that, that responsibility with them. And I think it's a good thing, because I think you need something like that to keep you motivated, keep you driving forward. And it's a pretty powerful thing when it starts to happen.
That's awesome. I think also that, to just add on to that, isn't it kind of like pushing a boulder up a hill? You get it to the top, but then it starts to create momentum. So as people go through the 10-week program and they start to achieve success, the community is behind them, and they start saying, holy cow, like, I can't even believe it. Like, you're making these fantastic changes. You're really working hard, and it's showing.
Yep.
And that just encourages you to go more.
Absolutely.
And then when people from outside the max, your family and your friends, start saying, wow, you look fantastic. What is it again that you're doing? It just encourages you to want to go more. And then eventually you start to realize, like, heck, like, I didn't just do this for myself. I really do have the ability. What they were telling me from the beginning was true. I have the ability to make a difference for my family. I have a different ability to make a difference for my community. Mm-hmm. Everything I said before, I have the ability to make a difference for the country and ultimately for the world.
Yep, absolutely. Absolutely, Brian.
Because we could talk to our kids until we're freaking blue in the face, but as they say, monkey see, monkey do.
But that's the big thing. It's like, you start with one person, and it turns into 2, into 4, into 8, into, and it does happen that way. I mean, word of mouth is powerful. And as people go through this program and people see the changes they've made, again, not just physically, but also in, they're coming up to you now, and they're upbeat, they're positive, they're looking for, like the good things to do and get forward with. And that catches on. It catches on not just with their family, their friends, and in the community, and it's awesome. I mean, I've had members that spouses never step foot into the physical part of what we do, the workouts, but they make a commitment to follow nutrition to support their spouse, and they get ridiculous results. And that it does become a lifestyle change. Then you have a mother and father that are eating right and doing the right things. What do you think's happening to those children now? They're paying attention, right? They pay attention all the time. And all of a sudden they're asking about healthier choices and eating and doing healthier things. And it's exponentially remarkable. So.
And what about when you get, let's say, a principal of a school, I don't know if you have any of those, or a school teacher.
Mm-hmm. Lots of those.
Yeah.
Yep.
I would imagine, not only is it their own family that's witnessing this whole thing. Yep. I actually saw one video, it wasn't from your center, but it was another center where it was a principal of a school, and she won the 10-week challenge. Oh, really? And they came to the school and they presented her with the award in front of the school. And she marched through the hallways of the school. And all the kids came out clapping and cheering. So
that's cool.
There's like 700 kids in this school clapping and cheering for this principal and hugging her. And literally, it was like a crowd of kids, like just constantly just all congratulating her for this. And the congratulating part was great because I'm sure it made her feel good and keeps her going every single day. And talk about leverage. Now she's got all 700 kids looking at her. But those kids are looking and saying, holy cow.
Right.
They see the change.
And think of the conversation that comes out of that, right? Mm-hmm. What did she just win? Oh, well, she did this challenge, and she was eating great, and she was working out, and she's doing all these things, and she's really feeling healthy and feeling good.
And they see
kids see that, and they're
because
like,
they see that she's lost the weight, that she went from whatever she was to being in the absolute best shape of her life.
And I guarantee you a bunch of those kids went home and started asking mommy and daddy, like, what are we eating for dinner? Why are we, what? Pizza? No, we're not going to eat that.
But it's planting a seed, and seeds grow to, seeds grow, right? And so, that when the time is right, they'll think back to that and say, you know what? It's time for me to get it in order, and they'll follow the examples of the adults around them that are setting those examples. I think it's true. Otherwise, it gives you a point of validation to people, right?
Absolutely.
Otherwise, you're following the people in your life who say, you're just big boned. It's just the way that it is.
Right.
It doesn't matter what you eat. It's hereditary if you have high cholesterol or heart disease or type 2 diabetes. When the majority of these things, if we take it into our own hands, nutrition and exercise.
Right.
Done.
We can improve them tremendously.
Even
if you're predisposed to a lot of those things, you can still do things that are going to help you to be in a better place.
In almost every instance, in very many of them.
Yes.
I mean, there's countless stories of people who are off of their insulin, off of their high blood pressure medication.
Absolutely. Yep.
I mean, we're very quickly, the biggest problem becomes that they have to have their
medicines adjusted, otherwise they pass out.
It's a good thing, right?
Yes.
It's a good thing.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So rewind all the way to 5 years ago, because you're coming up on your 5-year anniversary of your business, right? What month is that going to be?
September.
September. So it's coming up in 8 months, really. Eight months.
Yep.
Yeah, 9 minus 1. 8. 7.5.
Yeah.
7.5 months. And, you were a member first.
Yep.
But let's rewind even before that. So, why did you
become? Well, I got involved. This is a funny story. You've probably heard this one before, though. I got involved with the Max Challenge because my wife made me do it. My wife had a friend, Linda DeVizio, right?
Oh, that's right. That part I remember.
That was her hairdresser. So Linda had been doing the Max in Old Bridge, and she was really into it. Had great results. She was feeling good, looking good. And so my wife decides she's going to go to the Max. And so one day my wife says to me, "Mark, we're going to the Max." And I'm like, "What? What's the Max?" And so I checked it out, and I'm like, that's not for me. I was like, I'm a gym guy. I lift weights. I do that kind of stuff. So anyway, long and short of it was, when my wife tells me to do something, I usually do it. I'll admit that right here and now. And I went. I did it. I did the program. I did my 10 weeks. And honestly, my first challenge, I lost about, I think, 25 pounds. I felt better than I had felt probably in the last 15 years, 20 years, even working out at the gym. It was ridiculous. And then, like I said, the thing that really hit me at the end of that 10 weeks was how I watched people around me just change the way their mental disposition, in a sense. They become more confident. They were just more outgoing. They were people that would stand in the corner day one, by the end of the challenge are out, they're talking to everybody else in the class. They're moving around. They're coaching and, inspiring other people to do things. It was just a great experience. And that's when I think I was like, I wonder if these guys are doing it with franchise. So we started talking about that, I think, at some point with you guys. But I did another challenge over there, and it was the same thing. I lost another 10 pounds, but I felt incredible. And so then from there, I got involved with the franchise piece. We did that. We opened our first franchise, I think, in, was it 2014? And I never looked back. It's been a great experience from day one. Like I said, I've been getting up. I teach the 5 a.m. class. So I get up at 4 in the morning every day. I've been doing that for 5 years, maybe a little break, here or there. But literally for 5 years, I've gotten up. I do that. And like I said, I don't feel like I go to work. I truly enjoy what I do. I've never taught less than 2 classes during the day. I fill in, I sub, I do everything, so I do that part of it. But I also, obviously do the business side. But to me, it's like I said, like I just turned 60, so kind of coming up fast forward. And somebody asked me the other day, well, what are you trying? Maybe you did. What's your goal? What are you trying to do? I said, well, remember this guy was named Jack LaLanne? You guys remember him? I'm really old. I'm 60 years old. But he stopped doing what he's doing when he's 75. And if you saw the picture of him when he decided to stop at 75, he was in ridiculous shape. The guy was still touring all over the country, preaching positive things to people. And I see no reason. I want to retire. If I retire, I'll turn to dust and float away. So I'm gonna try to stay active as long as I can. That's my goal, and this obviously helps me do that. Like I said, I feel like I'm making a positive impact on people, and so long as I feel like I'm doing that, and I'm just gonna keep it going.
Yeah. I think the big piece that I pull out of it, and I hope other people get from it as well, is follow your passion. Find something that you're, no matter what your age is, find something that you're truly passionate about, and then do it.
Yeah.
Make it happen. Don't wait another day. If you're 40, make it happen. If you're 50, make it happen. If you're 60, make it happen, and follow it, and you won't feel like you're working. And it is for your health, because it fills you up in such an energetic, positive way. When you wake up in the morning, you're not dreading getting yourself out of bed. You're literally jumping out of bed to get to where you want to go, because you've got important work to do. You've got a mission. And that's pretty much like what it is. It's like being on a mission rather than having to go to work.
I got one of those little Samsung, smartwatches,
Yeah.
and it measures your stress level. My stress levels are always like, my they're not existent. So, I mean, because it is something that, there's things that happen.
Yeah.
But it's for all the right reasons in a sense, right? And like you said, follow your passion. I was looking for years to figure out, I knew I wanted to do something and to figure out what that was, but you never can give up. You got to keep pushing forward, and you got to keep looking for the things that are like, I'm a big believer in don't look in the past. You got to keep your eyes ahead of you. Look at the now and have a twist to the future, but the now is where the opportunities are going to be. And if you're not doing that, you're not keeping your eyes open, you're not looking for those things, guess what? They're just going to fly by you. And like you said, I don't care what age you are. I don't care what your goals are. I mean, you need to continue to pursue them. And that goes back to the mindset. I think we get programmed to believe things are out of our reach, right? They're not. If you put together some kind of plan in your head and you really look for the things that, especially if you're passionate about them, no way you can fail. You can get a lot done if you change the way you're thinking about those things. To your point, right? I had done something else when I first started to explore things after I left the corporate world. I bought another franchise. At that time, I thought my passion was I just wanted to be my own business. Well, I made a mistake. The business I bought really wasn't for me. I wasn't really passionate about the business. I thought running the business would be my passion. So I figured something out in that move. And when this came up, it was more in line with things I've done in my past, more in line with things I was interested in, and I could see myself being passionate about. So I learned something from that. And that's the one thing I would say is if you want to look back, fine. Look back real quick, do an assessment, learn something from it, and then get on the forward path, right? But so I did finally find the thing. I'm very lucky. But luck, some of it's I kept looking, right? I didn't, because I was 55, I didn't say, I'm just going to kind of play it out, get another job, go back to the corporate world. I could have done that very easily, but I didn't, because I knew at that point, I still want to do something. And I was capable of doing something, so I ended up doing this. And like I said, it's all worked out so good so far. So,
that's great.
Pretty happy.
It's insane because I see it all the time. I see people who fail in one thing. It just doesn't work out the way that they planned, right? It's not really a failure, but instead of learning something from it, the one thing that they learned, it's almost like they touched the fire and they got burnt, and now everything's bad, and then they play it so safe. I mean, they're in this little box, they play it so safe. You know what I mean by play it safe? Okay, I'm just going to go back to the whatever.
The thing that I'm comfortable.
And they'd be miserable. They'd be miserable doing whatever it is that they were doing before, that they already know they don't like it, but they got burned, they're afraid, they're not going to venture out and try something again that might have not just the opportunity for financial success, but really to provide them with a sense of fulfillment in life that most people never get to experience, which to me is like insane.
Yeah, I mean, having done what I've done, I would 100% totally agree with that. I mean, I'm very lucky in the sense that I've had that chance to experience it because, I mean, what I did before was kind of like the grind. I was actually a CPA by trade. I was in accounting, business, that kind of stuff, and not very rewarding in the end of the day. I mean, and right, could I have gone back to that? Absolutely. But would I have been happy? No, I would have been miserable. I probably would have been still, probably would have been 35, 40 pounds heavier and getting in bad health situations because I would have been stressed. I would have been not happy. And I really think, though, again, it goes back to what we were kind of saying before, you always have the chance to do something different. You always can change your destiny, change your path, right? But at the end of the day, who's that on? It's on you, right? It's on you to make a conscious decision that I'm going to take that leap of faith. And it's really not a leap of faith. If you're really, truly passionate about something, you're going to do your homework. You're going to make an informed decision about it. But you're going to find that if you're doing something that you truly want to do, it's a lot easier to do it than you might think. It just kind of falls in line. I can't explain it, but it works.
Well, I think the people around you sense that you truly have a passion for helping them achieve their goals, right? And that you truly are there, not just because it's a fantastic business opportunity, but you're there, and they sense it. So it kind of it starts to become a self-fulfilling prophecy, right? Like you execute with such excellence because you're there. You want to execute with excellence. You want it to be a top-notch experience so those members really get what they expect and then some and achieve all their goals. And people feel like, wow, this guy is genuine. This guy is sincere. This guy's truly here to help me. He's been on a similar path as me. And it attracts more them to stay and attracts more people.
And I truly believe, though, that's part of the Max culture. You talk about, like, I talk with my staff all the time, like, about culture, right? What's our culture? Our culture is basically what you just described. I think, like, our trainers, it starts with right there, right? They're genuine people. A lot of our trainers have been through the program. So when you talk about whether it's, the owner, the staff, the members, we seem to build a culture of people, at least when they're at the max, are genuine, supportive, and are creating an environment where everybody feels safe. They feel comfortable in being who they are, and maybe taking that step to do something outside their box, taking that step to maybe challenge that little voice in their head that's going, oh man, I stuck my hand in that fire that last time and it burned. But you know what? If I get burned again, these guys are gonna be right behind me. So I think that's important, and that's an important point you hit on, because when you talk about the Max and what it's meant to me, that is probably the most important thing that I can say in totality. Like, when I look at centers, like at my centers, I see those every day, and even the center that I was at when I did this, the culture that was supportive and nurturing, and at the same time challenging, though, to the people that were there, is incredibly unique in what I've experienced in the past. Not just from a physical fitness perspective, but I've worked for quite a few companies, some really big companies, and culture's a buzzword that goes around a lot of times. And I think, though, that it's very important, because how the tone is set and how it filters down makes a big difference in what's going to happen and how it's going to lead to things that make a difference. And I think we've done the right things since I've been involved, and I believe in the culture, and I truly see it expressed in the places that I go to or visit or in my centers.
Yeah,
So.
it's amazing. So along with that, I think there's this meme going around on social media all the time. Success lives outside the comfort zone. It's like a circle, and then it shows success, and it's outside the other circle that says comfort zone. And I think that's where the challenge part comes in. And people don't get that, because I feel like we were innovators. We started this when there weren't challenges on every single block. Now there's fitness challenges on fitness challenges. I mean, there's even yoga challenges. It's like do the 8-week yoga challenge, and then you drive down the road, do the 6-week Tai Chi challenge. I don't know. There's all these different challenges, but the essence of what this is and why it's so special isn't really captured, I'd say, by the large majority, or really any of these programs. Like, literally what we do is different than anything on the face of the earth. And I think it's, in part, it's totally because of the culture, and this piece of the culture that, we're not going to try to take people from 0 to 100, but we are going to encourage them to go from 0 to 5.
Yep.
So they're 5 points out of their comfort zone at all times. And once they get used to being 5 points out, and they're constant, as they close the gap, we're going to make it 10. And then we're going to make it 20, and then we're going to make it 30, so that people are constantly in a state of what I guess they would call constant and never-ending improvement.
Yep, absolutely.
I don't think that's natural for most people.
No.
In fact, if you look at the way that we're taught in schools, that's again a whole different subject. But I mean, we're taught to sit up straight in your chair, fold your hands. This is the teacher. Follow the rules. Everybody get in line, and just everybody come on, follow along, do the same thing. And I follow this thing that misery loves company.
Well,
right? And kind of got a bunch of
absolutely
of people just kind of a herd just going in the same direction, which is leading a road to nowhere. A road to nowhere.
Right, and I think that's a big part of what we do, is we teach people how to take that first step out of that box. And I think we do it in such a way where we help them sustain that. Even if something bites them, we help them do it again until next time it's gonna stick. And then once they take that first step, it becomes a lot easier to take that next step and that next step and that next step. And I think exponentially that starts to happen. And I really think that's where our program really is different than a lot of those other things you've said. I mean, it's easy to go out there and capture, yeah, I'm going to run some program for 8 weeks and I'm going to introduce this thing into it or that thing into it. We're going to do this plan, but you can't duplicate the culture. I mean, that's something that, you know, you brought and you built and we've learned as we've grown, and you just don't come in and make that happen.
You could paint the walls.
Yeah.
You could throw some
Exactly.
equipment in there.
You can build it out to look really nice, but culture is like,
takes time,
it's the heartbeat,
energy.
man.
Yeah, it's
It
the
really
heartbeat
is.
of the whole organization.
Yeah.
It's 100% true. I always said from the start, you know, in the beginning, I didn't write down the values or our mission statement or anything like that, but I knew it. I knew it in the most important place in my heart. And then I looked for people like you, people who had the same values, so that it wouldn't be a difficult fit. It wasn't be like, okay, I got to try to get this person to fit this mold. It's like, this person already fits this mold, and together we're going to totally crush this, because together we're unstoppable. In our hearts, we already want the same
things. Yep. Want the same things. My perception to what you're trying to do is on track, and people around us, their perception to it becomes on track, right? And I think that's, you know, sometimes it's again, it's if you walk the talk, people pick up on that, and they pick up on the things that are important, and they emulate them, right? And as they emulate them, that culture becomes almost a living thing, because now it's not just about what's on the piece of paper.
Yes.
It's happening every day.
And that's the BS of corporate America,
Yes,
right? That's what
right.
people are sick of.
Right.
They're sick and tired of going to work and working for a company that has a set of values in the wall that just are meaningless.
Yeah, and if it's up on the wall, you know, it's the old cliche, are you practicing what you preach?
Yeah.
And I think from day one, since I've been involved in this, we've practiced what we've preached.
It's awesome.
And it is awesome. And I think that's why we're here today doing what we're doing. So
Yeah. So let's roll this back one more time to the
Okay.
beginning. When you're starting your business, because I'm sure there's a lot of people out there who are thinking, and I'm not talking about just the Max Challenge, you're thinking of starting a business or some life change, and they might have apprehensions. You know, I'm sure, like one of my mentors said to me the other day, anybody who tells you that they don't have self-doubt at all and they've achieved anything worthwhile in their life is basically doing one thing: they're lying completely, because self-doubt is, you know, part of life, and you know, you just have to learn how to channel that energy, whatever. So what advice would you have for anybody watching this who might have a dream or a goal, and they might be listening to this and they're sort of getting excited, but as they're getting excited, they're thinking, like, can I really do this?
I think, you know, like self-doubt, fear are powerful things, right? But like everything else, I think, like we've talked about today to some degree, you have to learn how to control them and deal with them, right? There's many, many great things that have happened as a result of somebody's fear, right? And I think that as you go through this process, I think the most important thing is you got to be honest with yourself, right? It's kind of like you said, when we talked, you saw certain things you know that you thought I'm attuned to, right? Certain values, certain ways that I'm going to approach things, work ethic, whatever it might have been, right? Certain criteria. I think people need to do a real self-assessment of where they're at and what they want to do. And to me, it's at some point, there's always a risk in anything you do. There's a risk in taking a job tomorrow, right? That company can be gone, or you can get fired or laid off. Same thing with business. I mean, there's a risk, but I think those are things you're going to calculate. They're a little easier to look at a little bit more objectively, right? You can crunch numbers, you can get information, you can kind of put those things together and know what your range of risk is there. At the end of the day, all those other things I think that are creeping into your head about whether you want to take that leap to do that is something that you need to face head on and really ask yourself why you're doing it. What are the main reasons you're trying to go from A to B? And if those reasons are genuine, and the thing that you're looking to do meets those genuine goals or needs, then you got to do it. I mean, if the other things have been put to bed, once you've done that first step, the more, you know, the business side, the more financial and all that. The rest of it's just things creeping into your head, the things we've talked about today, which are fighting that programming, fighting that fear, fighting those things that are a little voice in your head that's saying, oh my God, what if, what if? Those are things that are just creeping into your mind that are telling you not to do it. But if you believe you're passionate about the thing you're going to do, if you believe those other things are manageable and you've got a pretty good shot of accomplishing those things, then you got to have some faith. You got to have some confidence in your ability to get it done. And then really the only reason you would not do it, in my opinion, is because you've let those other things creep into your mind and you've taken the safe way. You've gone back to the program way of saying, I'm just going to go do the thing I'm comfortable with and I'm not coming out of the box. At some point you got to take a step out of the box. And it's kind of like we said, if you're working out and you start out doing something that you're doing a push-up off the wall, getting your knees might seem a little scary, but once you get your knees, the next step is going to seem a little bit easier when you get up on your toes. It's kind of the same thing. You gotta take that leap of faith and start. You gotta step out of that box. How do you do that? You gotta have some confidence in your ability, in yourself, and have the confidence to know that you've looked at that opportunity, you've looked at that thing that you're going to do, and it's something that you want to do for the right reasons. I mean, it's going to bring you to that next step.
Otherwise, you're not going to have the energy to follow through and to make it happen. Whether it's just joining the exercise program, or starting a business, or whatever, or career change, whatever it is. If you don't really evaluate it according to those criteria of is it a fit that's going to help me achieve my deepest desires and goals? Who am I as a person? What do I want, like financially and otherwise, like spiritually, emotionally? And does this opportunity serve me financially, spiritually, and emotionally? And if it does, then you got to go for it.
Yeah, exactly.
Got to make it happen.
Yep, absolutely.
I think one of the things that I got out of this, which I think is absolutely extraordinary, is reverse engineer your life. I mean, I see this very clear picture that you have for yourself, that you want to be at least 75 years old and still doing all the things that you enjoy doing on a regular basis and making an impact for yourself, and your business,
my family, and my community,
and your community.
Absolutely.
And you're doing that. You reverse engineered that. You've created an opportunity for yourself to exercise your passion and to make all those things that are in your mind a reality. I have absolutely no doubt that we're going to be here. You're going to be 75.
We'll make a date.
Yeah. We'll figure it out. We'll do the math. We'll figure it out, and then we'll put it on the calendar. And by that time, there'll probably be no computers. We'll just have a chip in our heads. It'll just go
beam you over there.
This has been absolutely amazing. I think that you've inspired a lot of people. Certainly, I've pulled a lot from this, and this is another chance for people to take their entire life to to the max.
Absolutely, man. Take it to the max. All right, Brian. Thanks, man.